I traveled to Cuba for the first time last November with 4 other members of the Cuba Mission Committee here at Suntree. I've been involved with the committee for a little over 2 years, and I decided to go so that I could better understand what we're doing there and our relationship with the churches and missions that we pray for and support. I could not have traveled with a better group. Alice Matthews, Marlene Couch, Ruben Gonzalez, and Brad Shea. They had all been to Cuba multiple times and had ongoing personal relationships with the pastors, missionaries, and many of the people attending the churches. It was very distressing, but no big surprise to me to see that life in Cuba is very, very hard. Supplies and food are scarce. Medications as common as ibuprofen cannot be found. Prescription meds? Right. There's been no upgrade to the country's infrastructure, their water systems, their power stations, or their roads since the communists came in back in the 50s, and it was obvious. We experience those rolling electricity blackouts every day. The roads are treacherous. Water's not drinkable. There's no trash collection. So it's piled in empty lots beside the road everywhere. The country and its systems are literally falling apart. Adults and children are dying from mosquito-borne viruses. Available medical and hospital care is horrific. It does not take long as a first-time visitor to see all of this and to be absolutely overwhelmed by the problems facing the Cuban people. In the midst of this, bright spot are our sister churches, El Redentor and Ojo de Agua, and their many missions. People are flocking to the churches that we support for comfort, community, respite, and hope. In addition to providing nourishment for the soul, these churches, through the generosity of Suntree, have become a community resource for medication, clothing, and food. In all respects, the church has become their lifeline. Amazingly enough, the church services at El Redentor and Ojo de Agua are standing room only. There's great joy, dancing, peals of laughter, and children everywhere. Their church services are raucous celebrations with dance and music, and for this traditional service type of girl, quite the experience. The majority of people do not have transportation as we know it, so to attend these services, they walk or bike for miles, they hitchhike, they jump in a horse-drawn cart, they precariously position a family of 5 on a tiny motorbike inscribed with, "I love Jesus." You can't make this stuff up. Now, that was something to see. The people who can't get to church, the church comes to them. El Redentor and Ojo de Agua have multiple missions. These are like the church's Red Cross comfort stations out in the poorest, scariest, most remote areas. The missionaries and their families live there, personally ministering to their neighbors. During the week that we were in Cuba last November, we visited our sister churches and 2, sometimes 3 missions per day. We were greeted like rock stars at all of them with hugs, expressions of gratitude, beautiful girls in dancing and handmade costumes, music, handmade gifts, always coconut water, and whatever food, fruit, and crackers they could put together. They all know Suntree. I was so proud of our church, and they're so appreciative of all our prayers and support. The reach of the church and the presence of God in Cuba is an amazing thing to see. God has found a way through these welcoming and proactive churches to multiply the little bit we are able to provide many times over, well outside the church's physical walls. I came away convinced that our work in Cuba and the support of our Cuba churches and missions must continue. God is doing great things. Please join me this month in contributing what you can to the work of God in our sister churches El Redentor, Ojo de Agua, and their many missions. Join us for the Cuba Mission Dinner on September 27th at 6 p.m. in the Worship Center. You can purchase tickets all this month after worship from members of the Cuba Mission Team or online at suntreeumc.org/events. Tickets are $25 and include a delicious Cuban dinner and desserts. If you can't make it to the dinner but would like to make a gift to the work of our Cuba Mission Team, you can use the mission boxes in both worship areas or give online at suntreeumc.org/give. Support the Cuban Church. Their faith is on fire.